What's up, guys? It's the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And you guys are tuned into Caught
in Conversation.
Shaka-laka-laka. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 171 of Caught in Conversation. Invest in yourself. I am the Essential John L. Crossfire, as always, your esteemed host of this podcast. That sounds really vain saying that, doesn't it? Obviously, this episode was recorded a couple of weeks ago now. But, unfortunately, I had to wait a little bit just because I had to, well, I should say unfortunately, this episode is dropping at the date that it was scheduled for, but this intro and outro had to be postponed a little bit to get it into the can because I had to wait because I had an eye appointment. As I record this, it is currently 9 p.m. on Friday night, Friday the 11th of July. I was meant to have this done a few days ago. I was waiting until the Wednesday the 9th, which we actually touch on in this conversation because it was State of Origin, and unfortunately for me, EC Diamond will be happy. Queensland did win that decider. It was an absolutely lackluster game, to be honest. Like, I'm not even mad that we lost. I'm just mad that it was such a uncompetitive matchup, but neither here nor there. Congratulations, Queensland. But I was waiting because on that same day, I had an eye appointment, so I wanted to do a quick little health update in this episode. And without like going on a rant too much, if you want like a bit more detail, check out the vlog. But shit's fucked. My eyes are screwed. It's just not going the way that I planned. Like in terms of the actual surgery from when I had the cornea transplant, the tissue in the eye is extremely healthy. It's the healthiest it's been. But the vision in the left eye is also the worst it's ever been because of this cataract and the pressure and all this stuff. And even today as I record this, I've actually got a cyst coming up on the top of my left eyelid, which kind of noticed it this morning, and as the days progressed, it's just gotten worse and worse. It's about pea-sized at the moment. And I was thinking maybe it was just like a blocked tear duct, but no, I can actually like feel the lump and move the lump around. Obviously, I shouldn't be touching it, but you know, I have had a history of having cysts, though. I've had one on my neck in the past and one on my leg, so I'm like may not be too big of an issue, but obviously that close to an already vulnerable area is a little bit worrying. So I've got to monitor that for the next however, many days to weeks or however long it takes to heal. I'll give it a few days, and then if it gets worse, I'll go to the doctor because I don't want to fuck with that type of shit. I'm usually pretty stubborn with that stuff, but yeah, went to the doctor. They put me on more drops. 2 of my eye drops are no longer covered, so hey, if you want to donate to the GoFundMe, I ain't gonna fucking complain. But I also ain't gonna beg. But yeah, went to the eye hospital, but I also got to take part in their NAIDOC week celebrations by pure happenstance. On that same day that my appointment was, they had the celebrations, so that was really cool. I got to meet some elders and stuff like that. Got to do some more media for the eye hospital. I'm kind of one of their like unofficial spokespeople now. For people that live in rural towns, so that's kind of cool. There might actually be something in my local hospital soon as part of their, project that they're trying to do to get more stuff in rural towns. They're starting with Wagga, and fingers crossed there's a 99.99% chance that I'm actually going to be part of the media for that. So that's really cool. But neither here nor there. Really quick, the song and match of the week for this week. The song of the week is Save Me by Jelly Roll. The match of the week is The Rock versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2002. The reason I've picked this song is because we do dive pretty deep into mental health stuff here. Fuck me, I'm on fire today. Sorry, EC Diamond, I do sincerely apologize to you. We talk about mental health in this, stuff in this interview and other stuff. But, mental health's a big thing. This was originally recorded in June, the actual conversation. Obviously, June is Men's Mental Health Month. But mental health matters regardless whether you're man, woman, child, whatever, and at all times of the year. Like, mental health is a big thing. And also, by pure happenstance, literally just this morning, there's rumours coming out that Jelly Roll might be competing at SummerSlam this year, which I'm all for. I'm a mark for anything that Jelly Roll does. So if he competes at SummerSlam, count me the fuck in. And obviously, speaking of SummerSlam, it is SummerSlam season as we record this. It's coming up. It's just around the corner. One of the matches that EC Diamond talks about here in this discussion is The Rock versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2002. So Save Me by Jelly Roll, Rock versus Brock, SummerSlam 2002. Those are your song and match of the week. Really quick though, once I get to the outro in this episode, I don't want to talk too long because EC and I talked just under an hour. It was great time frame from an episode, but obviously I did have to squeeze that little health bit in. But yeah, for more detail, go watch like the 3-minute part of the vlog where I talk about it. It's a 13.5-minute vlog all up. It's not a super long vlog, but there's about a 3.5-minute video where I kind of try my best to explain what's going on while being absolutely exhausted as fuck. If you want the full story, reach out, but it's going to be a long-ass message. But yeah, Save Me by Jelly Roll, Rock vs. Brock, SummerSlam in 2002. But in the outro, I was going to do a full bonus episode, but Nova's still not feeling well, and with everything with my eye, I'm honestly not feeling well. I slept for about 14 hours yesterday, off and on. And I know some people will be like, oh, I wish I could get that much sleep, but I had no fucking choice. My eyes were just so swollen after traveling and after the appointment and everything that I crashed. I was done. I feel amazing today. It's just this pain from this cyst that's giving me issues. But in the outro, when I get to the plugs, I will be doing some predictions for Extreme Capital Wrestling's Guilty Verdict show, as well as playing 2 audio clips. So I'm not going to do a full-blown breakdown of the card, bonus episode or anything like that this time around, because Nova and I won't be there. We were still going to try and do a podcast episode, but the reasons keeping us from being at that show are unfortunately starting to catch up, so we didn't have time to sit here and talk for an hour. But I'm going to do quick rapid-fire predictions, plus play a couple of promos that have been sent in. One personally by Jake Gibson, and another one involving current champion Jackson Thornhill that was sent to me by ECW management. So yeah, when I do the outro, check out for that. But yeah, as I said, song, match of the week, Save Me by Jelly Roll, Rock and Brock 2002, SummerSlam. That's probably the most I've ever repeated that in the intro. But I'm just trying to cover all bases here. But without further ado, we're going to get into this conversation. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did, and then come back for the outro where hopefully I won't be as fucking tongue-tied trying to do said predictions. But let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from sunny Queensland, he is E.C. Diamond! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the one and only EC Diamond. He's doing the old car promo gimmick. He's talking to me on the car on his way to the gym, or before he goes to the gym, rather. He's not talking to me while he's driving. Let me just get that out of the way. But EC, we always ask the same question for the first-time guests to break the ice kind of thing. It's something you've probably been asked 1,001 times, but simply put, what was your earliest professional wrestling memory?
My earliest. Okay, so the one that sticks with me the most that I can remember from being the very start was seeing an action figure at before school care. So it was a John Cena action figure, and I was wondering why a toy had a shirtless, look to it, and I was intrigued of how that sold. And then I went on a trip to New Zealand and I saw a DVD for SummerSlam 2002.
Oh, okay.
And it was Brock and Rock on the front, and I was sold by then because it looked menacing. So my old man bought it for me. We went back to the hotel and we actually skipped right to the main event. And as soon as the belt gets laid down, they sprint to the ring and they just get into it. I was like, okay, I'm sold. This is fantastic. And then obviously since then I've collected wrestling figures my whole life. So my whole bedroom is covered in them. So, it's come full circle. That's for sure.
See, I haven't been able to access them for about 5-6 years now, but I have a box of action figures and pretty much every action figure I've had since I was a kid till now. And if I was to find that box, I shit you not, there's probably about 300 action figures, if not more. And the funny thing is, there's probably about 8 or 9 different versions of just John Cena in there and fucking 10 different versions of Edge. Because, you know, you got to have the different attires for the different pay-per-views.
Exactly. You know, championship attire. You got to have the different championships and entrance gear. And, mate, I'm a fully grown adult and I collect toys for a living. That's, you know, well, not a living, but, you know, full-time toy collector. So, and I think a lot of us wrestlers are, unfortunately. So, you know, we may look a bit dweeby, but, you know, that's what we love. So,
I used to be like the whole thing of, you know, they had to be out of the box. Now I'm more buying ones that are in the box. Like I've got a Macho Man, you know, the Ultimate Edition that has the multiple heads and everything like that. And I'm that's up on the wall. It's on display sort of thing. But it was, I haven't done it for a while because I've got medical bills and shit, but like you follow the Facebook marketplace and like people will just be getting rid of old figures and like they're doing it pretty fucking cheap a lot of the time. And like, I got my entire life, I never had a Jeff Hardy figure. I grew up in Goulburn and it's a big fucking city now. They've done all this crazy development. When I was a kid, it was still very much a rural town. So we only had 2 or 3 places to get wrestling figures and the Jeff Hardy figures instantly sold out. I had 2 or 3 different mats. I never had a Jeff. About 2 or 3 years ago, I'm trying to do the math here. What am I now? I'm 30 years old now, almost 31. So I was about 27, 28 years old, and this Jeff Hardy action figure popped up for like $3 or $4 because this dude was like doing a deal. And I was just like, yep, cool. So now like at a fully grown man, I'm like said to my wife, I'm like, hey, like, would you judge me if I bought this? And she's like, fuck it. She's like, what have they got? And then like I'm showing her like the collection the dude's got, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind this one, I wouldn't mind that one. And my wife's just like, here's $20, buy the lot of them. And I'm just like, what is my life?
Oh, I love it, bro. I love it. I 100% love it.
All the children's like replica belts, I got rid of all of them in a previous relationship. That we don't need to delve into that. And, you know, basically trying to, you know, she told me I needed to grow up. So I tried to grow up. And then obviously I've met this one and she's gone on Facebook Marketplace and she's bought like all of these kids' replica titles. A bunch of them I didn't even have when I was a kid. But she's just like scooped them up and she's like, nah. She's like, they're for our kids now when they're born. And I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, I don't know when that's going to be. But in the meantime, I guess they're mine.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, how good. How good.
Well, what a start to this conversation. At what point then, obviously you said you were just hooked from the get-go from that SummerSlam match is a fucking banger card, to be honest, but banger match.
Oh, yeah.
At what point from discovering this, though, did you discover that there was wrestling outside of WWE, whether that was going back into the old WCW archives or TNA or anything like that?
I mean, I knew TNA was around. Obviously, I think around the time or a couple of years after I found wrestling, TNA was supposed to actually do a tour. Yes. I think it got cancelled.
Thanks, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I was hooked on like TNA. I mean, we had Video Easy and stuff, obviously. Yep. In those days, God, that makes me sound old. It's not that long ago.
I feel that. I got so many of my DVDs were like the closing down sale from Civic Video. 100%. Civic Video 100%. Were like $2 wrestling DVDs, and I'm like, yeah, fuck, all right, I'll give you $100 for all these, and they're like, sold.
Yeah. Yeah, so like WCW stuff, I mean, just anything I could get my hands on, man. Like, I was just hooked by the storytelling. Like, it wasn't the moves, and I mean, yeah, the moves were cool, but it was more like just all the storytelling that was just, you know, it sold me straight away. So I obviously knew of that, but I didn't realize there was proper independent wrestling until I found the schools myself.
Well, I think that's a good segue then, because usually the next question is what was the deciding factor that made you start training and where did you start training? So let's leave with that. How did you come across Australian professional wrestling in that case?
So I had a really bad time at school. So I hated school. I got bullied a lot as a kid. I was obviously a bit of a chunky lad and absolutely hated school. So I fell into a bit of a trouble stage where I was doing some stuff I probably shouldn't have, and ended up finding a school called QCW in a newspaper one day, and I was like, you know what? If I'm ever going to make something of my life, then I have to do something right now, because the way I'm going, I'm going to end up, you know, either in jail or, you know, homeless, doing drugs and stuff. It just wasn't a really good lifestyle I was setting for myself. So I ended up applying, did my first session, took my first bump. That sucked, obviously. But I couldn't stop going to training. It was just, I just saw something in myself that changed from that point on. And, you know, I left all that bullshit behind where I was doing stupid stuff, and I really just hooked into it, man. I never gave up on it, which is good.
See, I like the authenticness of that answer, though, because, like, for me, I'm like, I watched a couple of matches and, like, you know, it's TLC 2 and fucking Edge spears Jeff Hardy, and there's like so that happened in 2001. I didn't see it until about 02, 03, a little bit delayed. And I was like, oh, man, maybe I want to do that. And then there was an Edge versus Eddie Guerrero no DQ match a few years later where I was like, nah, fuck, I'm going to do that, because that match just did something to me. But usually, for the most part, when I ask people that question, it's the same thing. Like, there's a certain match or moment that sucks them in. But I like that you've kind of, you know, it sucks kind of that you've gone down that path, but everything happens for a reason. So the fact 100%. That you've kind of had that moment of, fuck, I need to do something, and that was the moment in the old newspaper. Imagine that. The kids these days, you fucking
100%.
flicking through the newspaper, looking for a wrestling school when you can just pull out your phone.
To be fair, I wasn't looking through the newspaper. My old man was. So, you know, I was probably on my phone, or, you know, playing on my PS Vita or whatever they were called back then. So, yeah, it was my old man. But, you know, I'd been hooked for wrestling just, I mean, from the word go. But once I fell into that trouble stage, I sort of, you know, it wasn't cool to like wrestling, so I sort of just left it in the past. But finding it just, like, reignited that fire, and it just never went out.
So this will jump forward a little bit in the timeline, just because obviously we can't cram your entire, you know, X amount of year career in an hour to an hour and a half conversation. But just before the world shut down, you actually got to do some very, and I'm not going to say that training in Australia isn't serious, because we do have top tier schools now in the last handful of years, but you went and took it very seriously. You went over to OVW and you did some stuff over there. So how did that come to be, and just what was the experience like just from your point of view?
So obviously I was with UPW at the time, and through UPW we had the chance to host House of Hardcore. So we went through with that show. I wasn't supposed to wrestle that night. It was just supposed to be, you know, no local talent. Ended up being a spot where me and 13 got a match. To be fair, we shit the bed hardcore. You know, I think we were just trying to make it as simple as possible, just to make it authentic enough and make it look like we weren't trying to be spot monkeys. I remember we were like, okay, usually I'll do a head scissors and like a drop kick or something like that. And I was like, you know, well, I wasn't. It was both of us together. We were like, okay, let's just scrap that and let's keep it simple. And so we went and had the match, came back, and Joey Mercury was like, oh, you know what could have used? You know, a head scissors or a drop kick. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're fucking right. Yep, of course.
The actual, like the whole spot. Just.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just my luck. But obviously through that, Al Snow was there, and I got to meet Al and talk to him about OVW. Obviously, Muhammad Ali Vaez was with UPW at the time, and he had a big hand in that, in you know, just making us all develop under him as well. So once I'd met Al and talked to him, I set everything in stone, paid for pretty much everything I could, and then headed over there for 3 months, and it was just the most hectic time of my life, because I'd been overseas plenty of times, but not that far. And it's just a different culture over there, you know, just a very different vibe. But geez, the wrestling over there is just top notch. I can't praise it enough. You know, like the fact that you can go on the road and wrestle pretty much every night of the week. There'll be a little town show 10 minutes apart from each other, you know, and you can wrestle whenever you want, really. You just rock up and say, hey, man, I want to wrestle tonight, and you're on the show. So I got reps in, whether it was at training with Tony Gunn or Rip Rogers, or Jay Bradley, all these guys. But then I also got reps on the road and like doing house shows as well as TV, like it was pretty much just a non-stop grind. Obviously I wore out a bit through the middle of it, like that sort of like 2-month mark. I was pretty burnt out. But I found my rhythm again, and dude, it was such a good time to sort of find my rhythm for wrestling over there and then come back and, obviously the world fucking shut down. So that killed the momentum real quick.
Speaking of being burnt out and stuff though, what was, obviously, it's a very rewarding experience, but what was the most challenging thing for you and what did you find personally the most rewarding?
I think it was the most challenging part was just trying to settle myself from like, okay, I don't need to go out here and, prove that I've got what it takes to get a contract and all that kind of stuff. I had to just take my time, show the initiative of, okay, I want to be here, whether it be, just doing ring crew or, just, doing a dark match or something like that. It was just trying to make sure that they know I'm there, but not that I'm a, cocky piece of shit that thinks he should be on TV every night. And, like I got put straight into a show, the first show we did, I got put straight in on the card, and I was expecting to just be training for 3 months, So it was just a hectic 3 months of trying to make sure that I'm seen the right way that I want to be seen, not just, hey, here's this Australian guy that wants a booking.
Okay. And what was the most rewarding thing you think?
Just sitting under Al Snow, his knowledge is like no other. Same with Rip. Like Rip is just, those two combined would be the smartest people in wrestling. I reckon it's insane. The fact that Rip can teach all these guys to do 2-hour Broadways and make it all make sense. Like a 2-hour match, that's crazy.
I've talked to a couple of people about this, and it's like it seems so fucking pompous me saying this because like I've always said that the 3 years I got to spend in the ring, I was never a great wrestler, but I will put my hand on my heart and say that I feel like I was a great worker. The amount of young workers that don't know who Rip Rogers is kind of sad, and I understand that wrestling is very big and there is a lot of different people and places to train under, but there is so many young people coming up that have no clue who Rip Rogers is, and I beg them to please just, you've got your phone in your pocket, you don't need to go for the newspaper, you can pull out Google, like just type in his name, it'll come up. He has trained literally some of the best in this business, and
100%.
is still continuing to train some of the best in this business.
Yes, sir. He's one of a kind, that guy. Like he'll tell you how he feels straight up. Like if you meet him, you need to be prepared to, be grilled and be called all sorts of names. Especially if you have piercings in the wrong spots.
Speaking from experience there?
Yes, very much so. But he's just one of a kind. Like the fact that he just can teach someone to wrestle so quickly, it is insane. Like the first time that I walked through the doors of the Davis Arena, was Rip in the ring, and before I knew who she was, it was Jade Cargill, and they were in the ring just wrestling around a bit, and it was just crazy to think, okay, so now that woman is now one of the biggest names in the business at the moment, and Rip started her off, it's crazy. So that whole experience of just being able to even just watch the shows back with Al and get his feedback of watching you work, you can't pay enough money for it, man. It's insane.
Now, I don't want to discount the training here of Al Snow, because obviously you know firsthand what he's like, and we all know what Al Snow's like. If you've watched Toughen Up, if you've watched the Netflix shows or anything like that, any of his seminars that he does have like online and stuff, he's super, super knowledgeable. He's been in the business for years and years and years, and somehow just continues to get better no matter how much he ages. But for the sake of the podcast, we all know that Al Snow also likes a bit of a joke, a bit of a rib. Were there any ribs pulled either by you guys or by Al Snow within your class?
I mean, not really. Like, at that point, Al was just in the starting process of taking over, really. So he was very serious.
Very business-oriented.
Yeah, very serious. And, like, sometimes you just wouldn't see him. But, like, it's just the way they are. These old school guys that have been around for so long, they can do whatever the fuck they want. So, like, if you walk in and you look like shit that day and, you know, go eat another cheeseburger or something like that, you know, you just got to get ready to take that on the chin. So, I mean, there wasn't many ribs at all, really. Not that I can think of, but all you have to do is go back and watch old school Al Snow. I can't speak. Al Snow stuff, and you will see all of his ribs in full effect.
I love that. I love that so much. I wish more people would. Obviously, you know, you can't just travel to the US at willy-nilly, depending on your situation. But I wish, with the power of the internet, I wish more people would. You know, it's all well and good, like, you know, when someone gets released from a larger company and then they do a quick couple of seminars to make a few, like, bucks. I'm not going to shit on that. They've got a living to make. But you see, like, all these people come over here, even to Australia, and it's like, oh, you know, $60 for a seminar, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's such and such. He had this title and he had that title. Like, so many of the old school guys, and maybe it's just me being bitter because I didn't get the chance to do it myself, but I'm just like, I feel like they're kind of getting swept under the rug in a lot of ways by a lot of the current crop of generation. Like, I just wish that more people would do what people like yourselves have done, or even Pogo the Clown, who I had on the show recently, have done, and just basically take a bet on yourself and, you know, put stock into what these guys are doing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's literally just taking initiative and investing in yourself, man. Like, you can sit around all day and expect your in-ring work to get you a contract or anything like that, but, like, when I say invest in yourself, I don't mean go buy new ring gear that makes you look like $1 million or, you know, a new fake tan or something like that. It's literally, you know, like, you've got these camps that, you know, Slater and, you know, Davis
Storm.
They all do these, you know. They all do these seminars and even stuff online, man. There's so much stuff online. And Davis Storm and Slater, they are just the peak of the game right now. Like, if you see Damian Slater's Instagram, his content is crazy.
And that's the free stuff. That's the free stuff that we're seeing.
If you pay for that you're investing in yourself. And to pay for a flight over to America, that's also investing in yourself, because you're investing in the knowledge that you'll learn not only on the road, but whoever you meet, the boys out the back, the matches you have, all this kind of stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
So, like, it's just, a lot of people these days are just expecting willy-nilly to stumble upon someone that goes, oh, you're gold. But it's really just taking the initiative of, okay, I've got to spend money here and there to make money.
With that in mind, and that's absolutely good advice, and, like, full disclosure, like, I had to medically disqualify, so, like, I myself am a little bit better when I see these young people come in that are a bit, I don't want to say entitled, but, like, when I see people that, you know, are 10, 12 years younger than me, weren't even born when I first started watching wrestling and playing with action figures, basically come in and be like, well, I'm a great athlete and this, that, whatever, and, you know, won't invest in themselves, as you said. It pisses me off a little bit, because I'm like, I didn't get the chance to. You have the chance to. Fucking do it.
Exactly.
But you took a hiatus or two in the last couple of years. If you don't mind, you know, what was the reasoning for that?
So with wrestling, it was my one true love, but unfortunately with that, I did a lot of silly stuff in my downtime where I sort of grew habits that I shouldn't have, and I developed a really, really bad drinking problem.
Oh, okay.
So I just had a really bad alcohol addiction pretty much. And, you know, the fact that I would be really depressed if I didn't get blacked out. That's probably a sign where something needs to change. And that went on for a very long time, to the point where I woke up looking at myself in the mirror and had no idea who I was. Like, I was 110 kilos. I hated myself. I genuinely wanted to end my life day in, day out. I was just at the point where life itself didn't please me. You know, my in-ring work was horrible. My physique was disgusting. My mental health was absolutely piss poor. And I really I suffered day in, day out. And I didn't see a way out. And there was one day that I remember really vividly. My old man took me out to I think it was a NRLW game. And it was just me and him, you know, just kicking it back old school. Obviously, I was drinking, and I was at the point where I was getting, you know, pretty warm and fuzzy.
Yep.
And I just remember this little kid coming up to me, and he was like, "EC Diamond, you're my hero. Where have you been?" All this kind of stuff, and it sort of just broke me inside, because I had a can in my hand. I had a can in my hand, and I'm looking down at this kid that is seeing me perform probably when I was in shape, and he's probably looking up at me going, "What the fuck happened to EC Diamond?" And that really changed everything. So I sort of just took a step back. I looked at myself in the mirror again, and I decided that something had to change, and that was by quitting drinking and really just investing in myself for once, you know. And that's what I meant by before. Investing in yourself in wrestling is fantastic, but you also got to invest in yourself mentally and physically. So it took me a very, very long time to get back on track, you know, years and years and years. Like, it wasn't just an overnight process. I've, you know, today I'm sitting at 84 kilos. I'm, you know, down from 110. I'm wrestling every weekend again. I'm happy. Yeah, and you know what? The best thing is, I can say that I don't drink, but if I want to go out and have one beer, then that's fine. I'm not going to say that I'm sober day in, day out, because if I have a beer with mates, then that's fine. But I know when to say no now, and I know when enough is enough, and I know that going back to that person is something that I don't ever want to do, because it wrecks relationships, it wrecks families, it wrecks friendships, and I've lost a lot of things with what I went through, and that's on me, because at the end of the day, all you have to do is say no. That is the thing. You know, you don't have to polish off a 10-pack of rum or whatever just to feel happy. You just need to find something to replace it, and you'll find happiness, you know? So yeah, I mean, I apologize for bringing a bit of a depressed vibe into the chat, but that was sort of the last few years for me, man. It was just trying to find EC Diamond once again.
No, well, see, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because obviously I don't want to get too deep into your actual personal life, but that's actually unintentionally a very good segue into the next bit that I was talking about, because the next bit that I was going to ask you about, I should say. What are words? We're both on fire here tonight. So I myself, just before I met my wife, I like to tongue-in-cheek say that I was borderline alcoholic. She says that I was an alcoholic when she met me. Tomato, tomato, right? But I'm in that same boat now, where I can have one or two beers with mates, right? And it is what it is. Like, I don't feel the need to get blackout. And I know for some people that doesn't work and they can't drink at all, and 100% respect that. But no, I completely feel you on that. The amount of friendships and everything that I lost just because drinking a liter of tequila every weekend isn't good for your liver, apparently.
Exactly.
Who would know? But you actually, it's a good segue, because I had a little thing in my note here, and I put it in the middle of the conversation just because I didn't want to run out of time to talk about this. Obviously, this episode, once I've edited it and everything, won't go out until the second week of July. But as we record this, it's the last weekend of June. It is still Men's Mental Health Month. And whether it's men's mental health, women's mental health, it doesn't matter. It's mental health is mental health. You do a lot of advocacy, I guess would be the right word to use, for a couple of programs and organizations with the sole purpose of battling mental health. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with these organizations and who they are and what basically their goal is, so to speak?
So the one mental health company that I'm affiliated with is Silver Fox Initiative, which is my old man's non-for-profit mental health awareness company. It was, my old man is the nicest person you'll ever meet, and he's my best mate. And unfortunately, when I was really struggling, he struggled because, when you see your son wanting to kill himself a lot, it takes it out of you, and one day he decided enough was enough, and he was gonna, he did climb up a mountain, and he was gonna jump off that mountain, and just as he was about to jump, he felt this pressure to come sit back down on that mountain. He thought he heard myself and my mother's voices calling out to him, and that really, it made him stop and think, and he came back down and realized that, wow, okay, that came out of nowhere. And that's the thing with mental health, man. Like, it can sweep you out of nowhere, and you can hide it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, mental health does just really start with a chat. So when he started this, it was not only to help himself, but to help others that were going through the same sort of stuff. And now, my dad is just stronger than ever, and he's helping people day in, day out, and he does it for free. And that's the big thing. He doesn't want money for it. He just wants to see a smile on someone's face. He wants to be able to help someone when they're in need. And that's the big thing with Silver Fox is, it's just about going for a coffee or going for a bite to eat or going for a run, going for a gym session together. Something as small as that can change someone's day and really change someone's life, just like that. And so the Silver Fox Initiative, I just can't, I know it's a close thing for the family, but at the end of the day, I can't praise it enough because it has helped so many people. The amount of, outfits and T-shirts and shorts that you see out in public with Silver Fox on it now is insane. And, we've just seen a mental health company be put out in front of 52,000 people in Suncorp Stadium. And, that really goes to show how much mental health can do. Like that Black Dog Institute jersey that the Broncos had, it is insane that it got so many people brought into one conversation. And that is really the goal of a lot of mental health companies, is just to bring a conversation around. So, the sky's the limit. That is really the big thing. The sky is the limit with this sort of stuff. And I hope, this month has really been brought into some people's lives, and some conversations have been started, and lives have been changed. So, as I said, the sky is the limit.
And where can people get in touch with Silver Fox if they need EC?
So Facebook and Instagram, it's just Silver Fox Initiative. You just send him a message, and Dad's all over it. He'll be messaging you straight away to make sure if there's anything he can help with, or a conversation that can be had, or going for a quick chat or a coffee, or even just a phone call. That's all it takes. So, yeah, Instagram and Facebook, I think at the moment are the number ones. But, I really want to see this organization grow and blossom into something that can change the world. That is really the main goal. So reach out if ever needed.
I obviously didn't realize that it was your dad running it when I asked that question. So I commend Silver Fox for doing that, but I obviously definitely commend you and your dad then for doing that, and especially your dad, realizing that, if he needs help, maybe others do as well. Like that's, I did a couple of charity walks and stuff last year, and one of the ones I did was the Lift the Load challenge for top blokes. Yep. And I fucking walked, I think all up, I did 110 kilometers wearing a 9 kilogram weight vest. Obviously not in the one day, but for the whole month of, I think it was October or November, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it was just kind of, basically the whole thing was carry the burden of other blokes. So no, I appreciate yourself doing that, and obviously I appreciate your dad doing the whole Silver Fox thing, and I'll be sure to put all the links and stuff in the description of this episode as well, because mental health has been talked about many, many times on this episode, very early on this podcast, without going too crazy on this EC episode. By myself and two of my closest friends, we had a couple of little drinky drinks. We didn't get hammered, but we had enough to lubricate ourselves, and we opened up about our, suicide attempts and mental health and stuff like that. And I feel like more conversations like that, as difficult as they are, need to happen. So no, I just commend you guys 100%. And now I'm going to segue back into wrestling, and I don't know how we follow that, because that went way deeper than I thought it was going to. I just wanted to make sure we got it in there before we ran out of time. But shifting gears, EC, back to wrestling now. Fair warning, this question is going to be a little bit long-winded, so just bear with me for a little bit, because obviously you've been around Queensland for a handful of years now, so you've seen the highs, and by crikey, I know for a fact you've seen the lows. There was a lot of them in the early 2010s. I myself had a really shitty experience, without going too political, and pretty much tainted me ever wanting to be a part of Queensland wrestling again, which sucks, because I've continuously, without mentioning names, I've continuously managed to still wave the flag for other talents up there and other promotions up there. And even the promotion that fucked me over, I've still waved the flag for talent within that promotion outside of myself, because they're all super talented and I love seeing them what they're doing. But what's it been like for you, kind of seeing the peaks and valleys of Queensland wrestling? And it's just going to sound so cliche, but what's it been like for you seeing Queensland wrestling, I guess, rise from the ashes, so to speak?
I mean, from where I started in it, it was the drizzling. Let me just say that. Like, workers were great, but obviously the production levels weren't as good as they are today, right? And they climbed slowly, but they climbed. And the thing I noticed the most is when I came back from my hiatus, it was like we were doing TV. It was just the production levels on everything. It was insane. I work for UPW pretty much full-time at the moment, and their production levels are through the roof. Same with Pro Wrestling League. I mean, Wide Bay, their production levels are going up as well. There's just so many companies that have just invested in themselves, like I was talking about earlier. That's my whole thing at the moment. It's just investing in yourself. But everyone is invested in themselves, and it's just brought the whole state up. Like, when I started, QWA I think it was just QCW as well. It was a North Queensland QCW. Now QWA is legit one of the biggest promotions in the state, without a doubt. And, props to them. They are absolutely smashing it out of the park. Pro Wrestling League, smashing out of the park day in, day out. UPW, killing it. Like, all of these guys together are smashing it out every show. And it is so good to see, because we had suffered for so long. And I love seeing that it's not just the companies that are getting a good push and a bit of love, but it's the workers, man. These guys are going out there and getting their flowers, and that's what I love to see. I'm super grateful to be a part of it. And you've got some great people. You've got some great people leading these ships, and props to them, because they're doing the hard yards. That's for sure.
It's kind of crazy, because like when you go like, this person's the best in this promotion, or this person's the best in that state, or whatever, a lot of the guys and girls too, a lot of the workers, wrestlers in general in Queensland, when they're hailed as the best in the state, 9 out of 10 times now, a lot of those people are being hailed as not just the best in the state, they're up there with the best of the best in the country. And obviously, like, I'm a big fan of Bobby Bishop, and I've never trained there myself, but I will say, as it stands right now, I genuinely think that 3 Count is at least top 3 in the country, if not top 5 at the most. Like, from all the feedback and everything that I've seen, and all the other workers and stuff, and the guest trainers that they've had come through, and everything, all the good things that have been said about that, like, that is absolutely amazing for Queensland and just Australian wrestling in general. Like, if you live in New South Wales and you have the means to be able to travel, I'd say fucking do it, because I've heard nothing but positive feedback firsthand from probably about 20 different people that have trained there, and it's just amazing to hear about. But without blowing smoke too much and being a mark, this genuinely, when this conversation happens, 99.99% of the time of top talent in Queensland, EC Diamond for the last handful of years is constantly in that conversation. What does that mean to you?
It does mean a lot. Like, this business as a whole is my fucking life. Like, wrestling to me is gospel. And I know for a while I was handed stuff on a silver platter and I shit all over that platter. But now every opportunity I get, I take it with both hands and I make the most out of it. And I know there are a few people out there that don't like me, and that's cool. I will do my best to show everyone that this business means the world to me, and I will do whatever it takes to make this business stand out. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to be able to make it, right? And I want to make it, 100%. I want to see all these companies make it, though, as well. So, you know, you can go out there and do all these cool moves and all these spots and high spots and all that shit, but I want to do my best to help any sort of company out so that we can all rise together and make it together. So, you know, when I'm brought up in these conversations, it's a nice feeling. But at the end of the day, it's everyone's hard work put together. It's not just me that, you know, I do a cool super kick. That's awesome. Like, I like to be able to say that if I go out there with someone, I can bring out the best of them and they can bring out the best of me. And that's really it. So whoever I'm out there with, we're going to shine together. That's for sure. Not just me.
With that being said, that's a great segue. There's obviously, you're probably not going to be able to list them all, and hopefully no one comes out at you and being like, why didn't you mention me? But if you were to like just give a few people, for the people that are listening to this show to check out from the Queensland scene, who would those people be from your point of view? Okay,
so Bobby's the big one, right? Bobby is just making waves at the moment. He
fucking wrestled Danhausen. Like, I was fantasy booking that like a sumbitch, and I marked it so hard when I saw the announcement.
Yeah, so like Bobby's out there day in, day out grinding. You know, he's working his ass off, and you know he's getting rewarded for it, and I really like to see that. People like 13, in my opinion, without a doubt, one of the best workers in Australia, if not the world. And that is really, 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 it grinds my gears when he doesn't get enough appreciation, because he, without a doubt, is one of the best. You know, guys like The Gospel, Jesse Love, Zeke Andino, Moko. I mean, the list goes on. All the guys from QWA, Trent O'Day, like Seth Tylers, even, you know, my brother, Riggsy. Dick Riggs is the man. If you ever see him wrestle, you will be entertained in an instant. That guy is absolute gold in the ring. So, you know, there's going to be people that I didn't list and they're going to be angry at me, but like, I can't list everyone and sit here all night. But everyone in Queensland, let me just say, everyone in Queensland is working their asses off, and you need to keep your eyes on everyone in Queensland.
Yeah, I will say I've become a very big fan of Dick Riggs. Myself and, you know, cheap plug, myself and my friend from Victoria, DPC, he hosts the What If It's Cool podcast. We do reaction videos. We actually reacted to, I think it was Dick Riggs versus Doomslayer off the top of my head.
Very nice.
Fuck, it blows my mind that they're able to move around and do that much shit in such a small ring, but I guess that comes down to how well and trained they are when it comes to the ring awareness and everything else. That's a whole nother conversation, But blew my mind. Absolutely phenomenal talent. And we're actually, again, cheap plug, in the process at the moment as we speak of locking in 13. We've got him locked in. We're just trying to work out a time and date and everything like that. But no, I pretty much everyone you just mentioned there I follow on social media in some form or fashion, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, X, fucking, there's way too many socials to keep track of these days, but so much talent was just listed there by EC Diamond. But this is the part of the conversation as we start to wind down a little bit where we kind of like just mark out a little bit, basically. So with that being said, what is your all-time favorite match, both that you've had personally and that you've seen? And when I say seen, it can be live at a show, it can be through television, like the world's your oyster.
Okay. So my favorite match that I've had would be, it would either be me and 13 at the first Undisputed Glory, or it would be one of the matches that I had with Zeke. And you know what? I'm going to put a third one out there. one of the matches I had with Gospel, probably Sacrifice. That was up there for me, without a doubt. And one of the best matches that I've watched. You know what? I'm just gonna throw a weird one out there.
Okay.
The first of the trilogy between CM Punk and Samoa Joe and Ring of Honor.
Okay. Yep. No, I'll allow that.
Yeah, that's one of mine. Otherwise, you know, Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank, that was pretty good as well. So one of those. I know they're probably not the best matches, but those are the matches that I was the most entertained by. So
okay, hell yeah. And then the next part of this is kind of open for interpretation. I explain it to my guests now because I've had so many different reactions that you can answer this, you know, whether it's a completely different fucking universe, you can answer it realistically, or if you don't want to be that much of a mark for yourself, you can refuse to answer it, which a couple of people have. But who is your ultimate dream opponent, and what is the dream stipulation?
Okay. I mean, I'm a big Punk guy, so obviously I want to say Punk, but I'm just going to say Shawn Michaels because we both throw a pretty good super kick.
You can picture it now. They're going to super kick each other, double down.
Yeah. Double super kick, kip up into a strike off, and then I don't know, Shelton Benjamin super kick styles. Let's go with that. I don't know, dream stipulation. Let's just go like first to hit 3 super kicks. I don't know. That sounds so marky.
I mean, look,
I don't know.
Jerry Lawler was famous for the pile driver match. So I mean, a super kick match where like it's basically a finisher match, but in that situation, who can hit it first? Like that you're all about storytelling. That's a
these days you just hit it in the first move, wouldn't you? So it'd be a real quick match.
No, I reckon we
go out like lock-ups.
I reckon we go old school, like the amount of teasers and stuff, and then the inevitable when it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, you just do strike-offs with super kicks these days, don't you? Isn't that the big shtick?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man. Wow.
I love it. Okay, before we get to all your plugs and everything else, we always end it on a non-wrestling question. We try our best to tailor it to the individual. I have taken a little bit from your ring name, EC Diamond, and I've tried to throw a bit of curveball, and that is a question we've never asked on the show, and that is, what is EC Diamond's favourite type of jewellery? Whether that be like earrings, you know, bracelets, necklaces, I don't know.
Well, my earrings are silicone. Like, I've got stretches, man, so I can't say earrings. That'd be cheap, wouldn't it? I mean, I like watches. I like shoes, man. Like, I'm not a big jewelry guy. Like, I like shoes. So, can we count shoes as jewelry for this question?
I mean, look, if they're expensive as fucking half the Air Jordans are these days, they might as well be, right? Some of them are more expensive than fucking rose gold or full gold necklaces and stuff at this point.
You know what? I had a really nice pair of Jordans. They were like minty green, and they were good.
Oh.
But I did just get myself a pair of New Balance 1000s today, and you know what? They're really good. But I'm gonna go my favorite shoe. Let's go the New Balance 9060s. I like those. They're a bit wacky, but I like them. They're a good little shoe.
Maybe we say, how about, do you prefer gold or silver?
Okay. All right. You know what? Let's just go back to the jewelry one then, because obviously the shoe one was a bit shit.
No, I do enjoy that. The mint greens. My wife, she supports the Celtics in the NBA and the Eagles in the NFL. So anything like white and green, she's all over. So she'll pop when she hears this back.
When I was a big jewelry guy, it'd be anything from Culture King. So like, I don't go and spend a band on jewelry, man. It'd just be it'd be like a gold necklace or a gold chain, a gold bracelet, something like that. So yeah, gold would be my go-to if I did wear it. Usually these days I just rock a watch and that's it. One of the G-Shocks, and that's me good to go.
I have a $10 watch from Kmart because I'm fancy.
My man, how good.
I do actually.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a really nice Dragon Ball one that my wife got me because I'm just a massive fucking
Yeah,
nerd.
right. Okay.
But, like, I only wear that like if we're going out for like dinner or something because like it's
Well,
actually.
you know what? I've got the pre-order or collector's edition rather of Starfield, and that came with a watch. So let's go the Starfield watch, even though that game got bad reviews. I enjoyed it. That was a good game.
Oh my god!
So,
You know what? Fuck it. What's your favorite video game? I asked that literally.
Favorite video game? Okay, here we go. So I am a big Fallout mark.
Okay,
Fallout is my jam. New Vegas is the GOAT,
Fuck yes.
without a doubt, and like a close second would be Rugby League Live 4, soon to be Rugby League 26, and that comes out next month. So I will not be on any socials for like 3 or 4 months because I will be playing Rugby League 26.
Well, you know what? I might also be doing that, and maybe Parramatta will win me a fucking premiership. But anyway.
Mate, I'm just going to be doing Walshy runs all night, without a doubt.
See, my missus is also a Broncos fan, so she'll support that.
Oh, how good. How good. Mate, up the mighty Bronx, without a doubt.
I was wearing a Broncos jersey in 2023. I stole one out of a cupboard for the grand final.
Yeah, let's not talk about that day, please. Too soon, bro.
Back to back, my team in 2022, her team in 2023. It was a rough time in this household.
Rough couple of years, and it's all because of Penrith. Those dogs.
Yeah, fucking grubs. Anyway, with that being said, I appreciate you jumping on here tonight, man. Where can we find you on social? Do you have any merch available? And when? What are your upcoming bookings? Keep in mind, this will drop on the 12th of July. I think it's the 13th of July.
Okay.
Sunday the 13th of July.
All right. So socials, Instagram is diamondbrand_. My Facebook is just EC Diamond. All my merch is available at any show I wrestle on. Otherwise, message me through Facebook and you're able to get merch shipped out to you. What? I'd have to go into my phone to check my dates. I think in July, I've got the UPW Over the Top Rumble. And I've got one that might not be confirmed yet, but maybe early in the month. So keep an eye on socials for that.
And of course, if they happen after this, I'll make sure to put the links and everything down below. But yeah, follow EC on socials, follow UPW on socials. But yeah,
yes, sir.
Well, with that being said, I appreciate you coming on. We've managed to squeeze this in just under an hour, so I'm grateful.
We have. And hey, you know what? I made some really bad English choices today, but I didn't make as many as I thought I would. So, bar stuffing up Davis Storm's name. So that's great.
See, with that being said, though, we do have a T-shirt for the podcast that literally says #What Are Words. So
yeah, what are words? Yep. Yep. So like I message this man for advice a lot, but it is what it is.
Yes, you, the man that I talk to. I mean, full disclosure, I accidentally, granted I am legally blind, I had to repost one of my stories the other day because I tried to tag you and I accidentally tagged EC Brownie. And EC Brownie saw that.
Hey,
and
that
I was like, fuck.
That happens a lot.
And like I sent him a message and I was like, dude, so sorry, and he hasn't even opened it. But he saw the story where I tagged him by accident and I was like, well, this is
He big leagues you, bro. He big leagues you.
But no,
come on, EC.
I appreciate you jumping on tonight, and I'll let you go so you can go hit the gym and all the stuff and things. But I just hope you have a great weekend. I hope things continue to rock and roll, and I just look forward to.
Likewise, brother. Likewise, you're doing some amazing things, bro.
I'm trying my best here, and obviously, being in rural New South Wales, it's a bit hard to get to a UPW show, but I shall continue to keep watching through the powers of social media and everything else, and just. Yeah, man, best of luck for the future and enjoy the rest of 2025, man.
Thank you for having me. Go Queensland for Game 3, just so we're aware.
So by the time this goes out, obviously that game's going to be gone.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Sydney on that day for an eye appointment, in central Sydney. So I'm not looking forward to that, trying to navigate.
It's probably best you don't watch the game anyway, mate, because Queensland 13 plus.
Oh, I guess we'll find out. But
yes, sir. No, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you very much, mate. You enjoy the rest of your night.
Legend. Thank you, bro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was EC Diamond. And I want to apologize for being I'm always all over the place with my ADHD, but I feel like I was more over the place than usual in the intro to this episode. And to be honest, I'm not happy with it, and I kind of wanted to record it, but I'm just that exhausted right now that I just can't bring myself to re-record it. But yeah, I did forget to mention when that it wasn't even a full health update. I came into it fully prepared to do a health update, but then realized that if I did the full health update plus the ECW predictions and everything else, this would be bordering on a 2-hour, episode. And I don't want to sit here and bore you guys when the whole point of this episode was this awesome conversation with EC, because I don't want to take away from how grateful I am from him coming on the show. But one thing I did forget to mention in that thing is that my right eye currently, the pressure is sitting at 31. Doctors need to intervene when it gets above 28. So it's a bit concerning, considering that is, for lack of a better term, that is my good eye, despite the fact that, it in its own right is blurry as fuck more often than not. But yeah, it is what it is. Shit happens, I guess. Life goes on. I could be paralyzed. I could have a terminal illness. I could be dead. But I'm here, and these are the cards I've been dealt, and I just got to fucking deal with it. It's just really frustrating and disheartening when you're struggling to put food on your table, let alone pay fucking $70 a pop for eye drops now. But hey, this is what it is. Thank you so much, though, to EC Diamond for this conversation. It's been, I'm trying to do the math here. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I had this conversation with EC at the time of recording this intro and outro. And I really enjoyed this conversation. Straight off the bat, we just talking about action figures and shit like that. And I was talking about the stuff that Nova's bought me over the years and stuff like that. And, very, very grateful for that, and just very grateful for this conversation. And obviously mental health was a very big focal point unintentionally of this, thing. Obviously I wanted to bring up the Silver Fox Initiative stuff, but I didn't realize it was going to go that deep. So, I thank EC for that, and but just in the interest of being transparent, because of that, I'm just, my physical health is causing a big struggle right now, and I'm trying my best to push through, and it's just draining me. Mentally, I'm in a good place, and I am doing good at the same time, if that makes sense. But it's just the exhaustion from the physical health is just slowly starting to suck me dry, giggity. But yeah, it's just, is what it is. But yeah, shit's not good. But I appreciate EC Diamond for coming on, having this conversation with me. We'll definitely want to get him back on in the future. And I look forward to chatting to 13, hopefully sooner rather than later. As I said in this conversation, I have spoke to him. We're just trying to work out dates and such like that. 13 was actually just in the MCW Ballroom Brawl, which I just did a watch along of on Twitch. So yeah, fun times. All the cool stuff that's happening in Aussie wrestling. But yeah, of course, go check out all of EC Diamond's links. Of course, his Facebook and his Instagram. But of course, the Silver Fox Initiative stuff will be linked as well. Definitely reach out to those guys. They are obviously Queensland based. If you wanted to actually be more involved in person, but obviously with the power of social media, you can be anywhere and you can help them spread their word and all the stuff and things and stuff like that. But yeah, check out all those links, please, and go follow EC. He is a phenomenal talent. Of course, my links are there. Nova's links are there. Both of our link trees contain all of the pod stuff as well, and then our personal stuff. Obviously, the Patreon. To people that do subscribe to the Patreon, I do apologize, because this is going to be going out very late Friday night, so it's still, a day and a bit in advance, but we try to have at least 2 days in advance, and more often than not, episodes are almost a week in advance on the Patreon when we've got our shit together. So to those couple of people that do have the early access tier, really sorry. But yeah, $5 early access, $10. Can't even remember the freaking tiers off the top of my head, but there's a $5 tier, $10 tier, $15 tier, $20 tier, obviously the Supernova tier, the $15 tier. Although I should say the top tier is my favorite, but the $15 tier is my favorite because that's where the video watch-alongs and stuff come into play, and all the fun stuff. You can pick the topic for an episode yourself, yada yada yada. I am planning on hopefully releasing a bonus episode during the month of July, a Christmas in July special, where I am going to be doing my watch-along of the Grinch horror film, The Mean One, and that will be for $5 subs. So it will be like a Christmas in July special. So rather than do the full tier 3 $15 watch along, all subs from $5 and up will get the video footage, the full footage of me reacting in real time to the Grinch horror film. I'm hoping to actually record it in the next week or so as I do this. But yeah, it should be out by the end of July. I'm not going to say what week, but it's going to be out by the end of July. And yeah, keep an eye out for that. It's all there, yada, yada, yada. The GoFundMe, the Pro Wrestling Tees, the fucking Amazon wish list. Whatever. Anyway, with that being said, you can also get the digital copy of my children's book for the $10 tier. Instant access. It's the pin post. Just started working on book 2 again, but now that I'm having problems with my eyes, I'm probably going to have to take another break again. I wanted to get the 3-book miniseries published by the end of the year so that I could start at least on the first full-length children's book to have it published by at least mid-2026. But, everything's just hitting the fan. But anyway, July 19th, you can catch EC Diamond, UPW Over the Top 8, a 30-man Rumble, Royal Rumble for lack of a better term, Over the Top 8. The link is below for UPW. Go check that out. But speaking of July 19th, and this is the part that will be clipped and will go on YouTube and stuff as well, because obviously I do work for the company. I can't make this show because of health and everything else. But I'm going to quickly give a rapid fire as much as I can for the 3 matches that have been announced for Extreme Capital Wrestling, and Ruby July has promised that there will be surprises. There's going to be more stuff on this card, but the 3 announced matches we have are the Tag Team Turmoil match, the Dad Squad defending the titles, Savannah Rowe versus James Marshall, was EVO but card subject to change, and of course the Fatal 4-Way, Jackson Thornhill defending against Zack Stryker, Ace Jack, and former champion Jake Gibson. Extreme Capital Wrestling have actually gave us a little tease. I don't know if this is all of the teams, but they have gave us a little tease saying that Whiplex are going to be in this match. Tank and Rex are going to be in this match, which is a weird one for me because I don't know if it's a reformation of STA, because that's a sore point, because STA ain't allowed to come back without my say-so, and that's just how it is. Look, Tank and I have made up, but after everything, there was a reason that I put the nail in that coffin. But it could be a reignition of, or I guess a remix of the Destruction Crew now that Dozer has retired. I don't know how it is, but yeah, we've got Whiplex, Tank and Rex, and of course the Cooters. I don't know if that's all the teams or if there'll be more teams, because as announced by Ruby July, it was open to any and all teams in Extreme Capital Wrestling. Obviously, B Squared were meant to debut at a Hard Day's Fight before the date was changed, so for all I know, they could show up. Nova Nichols is teased showing up. JP Bamford is teasing up. You could have 2 different lots of the Cooters in this match. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that with the teams that have been listed, my prediction is with the Dad Squad. I do think that they're going to pull this out somehow, some way. My heart, with all due respect to Nick and Mike, because I do know them very well, I love them dearly, they've been on this pod, but my heart wants to see the Cooters win it, but I think the Dad Squad, that's my prediction to win this match. Savannah Rowe versus James Marshall. I think Savannah Rowe wins this. I think she continues the momentum. James Marshall seems a bit too preoccupied with a man that I'm about to mention, and that's Jackson Thornhill. James Marshall and Jackson Thornhill literally have been at each other's throats wanting a singles match for over 7 years, And Marshall seems a bit peeved off that, for whatever reason, card acceptance change, he wasn't able to make it to a hard day's fight. So I think Savannah Rowe will capitalise that and continue her momentum that she's been growing in Extreme Capital Wrestling. And in the main event, you got Jackson Thornhill defending against Zach Striker, Ace Jack, and Jake Gibson. I truly think, and I actually, for those that caught it, good on you. I already said this 3 weeks to a month ago on an Instagram story, but I'm going to put it on record here and, tick it down as being official, quote unquote. I said Ace Jack is going to win this. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it. I'm moving all over the place. My microphone's being smacked with things. I'm sorry. I am getting I'm excited for this matchup. Regardless of everything happening with myself and Jackson right now, and Jackson and Zach, which you'll hear about in a moment, I am very excited for this match. This has all the makings of a match of the year candidate in Australian wrestling. I am going with Ace Jack. I think it's Ace Jack's time. He's been building momentum all over Victoria. And I think Ace Jack, I just think Ace Jack pulls it out. And that's just my official prediction. And I know that I've got a lot of love for Zach. I've got a lot of respect for Jake Gibson. Jake Gibson, a good friend of this show, hence why he went out of his way to send me a clip for this podcast. I do appreciate that. But I think Ace Jack pulls it out. With that being said, I'm going to play these audio clips first from one of the challengers, Jake Gibson, and then I'll save the champ for last. I'll give him his due. I'll give him his respect with Jackson Thornhill. And then after you guys listen to me, maybe hit me up and let me know your predictions. But first and foremost, let's hear from Jake Gibson.
Ladies and gentlemen, July 19th at the Quimbian Tigers Club, the problem child Jake Gibson returns to Extreme Capital Wrestling's guilty verdict. And for those of you who were there at the last show, you all saw what happened to me. I got screwed out of my title. Not by Doomslayer, but by Jackson Thornhill. And don't you dare think, Jackson, that I haven't forgotten all these months later. It's been sitting in the back of my mind. I've been waiting for this date. I don't care that Ace Jack is involved. I don't care that Zach Striker is involved in this match. My eyes are on you. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect what you did. It's something that I would have done. But you did it at my expense. Jackson Thornhill, Zach Striker, Ace Jack. I don't give a damn who's in front of me. No one is going to stop the problem child from caving some fucking skulls in and becoming the Extreme Capital Wrestling Heavyweight Champion once again. Be there.
Now, as always, the ever intense Jake Gibson. I don't think anyone at all is shocked by that. And obviously, a bit of a chip on his shoulder with the way that things at a hard day's fight did unfold. But with that being said, let's hear from Jackson Thornhill himself.
It is your ECW heavyweight champion here, Jackson Thornhill, the pride fighter, the thorn among roses. Because I'm contractually obligated. But hey, that means I get to talk about the best thing that happened last show. The main reason people are talking, where I dropped Zach Striker, my best friend, right, his scrawny little neck, all his weight come down into beautiful, beautiful chef's kiss crunch. And this has been my dream for so long. Ever since I joined Rogue, being their little brother, carrying their bags, so having more matches, more experience, more traveling at the time. Because now we're going to talk about ECW. Guilty verdict. Where ECW management, clearly conspiracy. My first ever defense is now a fatal four-way with two people I've already beat. I beat Zach Striker, made his neck go nice and crunchy. I beat Jake Gibson for ICW Heavyweight Championship back in ICW. Now, hey Shaq, I don't really hate you. You're just a little fucking prick. And really, all I want to do is piss in your fucking bag. So ECW, guilty verdict, July 19th, Queanbeyan Tigers Club. I'm going to break Zack Striker's neck. I'm going to prove to Jake Gibson that I'm always going to be there to take his moment. And A-Shaq, I'm going to piss me a fucking fanny pack. Fuck!
Now, granted, I didn't want to do a full 1 hour breakdown because I didn't want to sit here talking to myself for an hour yet again. And I didn't want to rant, as I always do. I go on rants a lot. I have ADHD. I got a lot of thoughts in my head. I just thought, Nova wasn't here to kind of give her side, so I didn't want to break down the whole card in depth. I didn't want to, talk too long about this. But listening to that again, it's kind of pissed me off a little bit, and I'm glad that I'm not there. Because here's the reality. I'm not cleared to wrestle. I don't know if I'll ever be cleared to wrestle ever again. However, I don't have any stitches left in my eye. Yeah, my eyeball could still fucking explode. But I don't have any stitches left in my eye. I don't have to worry about them exploding. And if I was at that show, the way that Jackson is, if he got in my face, I'd probably punch him. I've tried so hard to reason with him and understand him. But him going on a rant about how he was a young boy and carrying Rogue's bag and this and that, I never once asked Zach or Jackson or Big James or Barry the Super Blake before they got the kick for their freaking behaviour on James High Octane Lenham. That's another story. I never asked anyone to carry bags. I've been a part of STA. I've been a part of the Unholy Gathering. There was a time where STA were considered the tag team champions. There was the Freebird rule. Only 3 of those 4 people were considered tag team champion. You know who wasn't considered tag champion? Me. And that's why I turned on Tank. That was justified. Tank and I have sorted out our differences. That's fine. Unholy Gathering, Reverend Earth made it all about himself when guys like myself, guys like Benny Whiplash were busting their backsides. And then when I started to break off on my own, mutually, I didn't do anything wrong. I thought I did the right thing. I didn't stab anyone in the back. Rev still then turned on me because he couldn't handle the fact that I was going on to bigger, better things. And then you look at Jackson Thornhill in this whole handling situation of Rogue. I got them title opportunities in Suplex. And yeah, they failed. And the reality is maybe if I had have been there in that corner on that night in Newcastle, maybe they would have won. And Zach's probably not happy with me saying that either. But it's a reality. And Jackson is just, I don't know, he's become an entirely different person. And he's got Whiplax in his back pocket now as well with this whole crown jewel thing with Ruby July. So I need to mind my P's and Q's because I don't want to get fired from that job. But in my professional opinion, Jackson Thornhill is going to get the shit kicked out of him. And I think those comments prove that. And if he does retain, no one will be shocked. But I'm still sticking with my prediction of A-Shaq, long story short. I just don't understand why he's acting like this. I don't know why went off so in hard on Ace out of the other 3 guys, considering Zach was the guy whose neck he tried to fucking break. But maybe the fact that I think Jackson saw the story that I posted a few weeks to a month ago where I said that I was leaning towards A-Shaq. I don't know if that's why he's taken that personally, but yeah. All I know is that I'm really bummed that I'm missing this show, and they have sold over half their tickets in the pre-sales. Every show we've had so far at the Queanbeyan Tigers Club has been capacity crowd, and those last couple of seats always get filled with walk-ins, so you need to scoop those up. 100%, that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to rant for another, half an hour to an hour when talking about this, because otherwise I should have just done a full episode anyway, but you don't want a full episode of just me doing just that. We're past that. We're up to the interview stages and stuff like that. But yeah, very intense words from both Jake Gibson and Jackson Thornhill. But I'm sticking with my guns. I'm saying Dad Squad retain the tag titles. I'm saying Savannah Rowe overthrows James Marshall. And I'm saying that A-Shaq will be hashtag and new at the end of the night of Guilty Verdict. Get your tickets. The link is below. On July 19th at the Queanbeyan Tigers Club for Extreme Capital Wrestling. Jackson, please just pull your head in. That's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on to a more family-friendly matter, on August 30th, Belconnen Community Theatre, Insane Championship Wrestling, all tickets just $8. Just $8. It is a private function, so contact ICW on either Facebook or their email. Their email will be linked below to secure your spots. But I'm very excited for this one as well, because the Pick Your Destiny match is returning for the first time in a few years. And if history is anything to go by, this entire match will flip the company upside down with new champions and new number one contenders, and just anything and everything can happen. They still haven't revealed everything that's on the line. They have revealed that two of the things that will be on the line will be the Canberra Championship and the Australian Championship. So that's bad news for the champions when you think about that. Literally anyone can be a part of the Pick Your Destiny match pretty much. So, I mean, one time I believe Dennis from long time ICW commentator and the sound guy, Complete Entertainment, shout out to them business. Go check them out if you're in Canberra and surrounding areas, Goulburn, Queanbeyan, whatever. But he actually got a case one year in the Pick Your Destiny match just because he felt like it. So it's anyone's game. So check that out, August 30th, Belconnen Community Theatre. And then as I record this, on a way, way, way more family-friendly matter, and definitely none of that language that you just heard before, I just punched the microphone, it's taking place in a church, Cowra Uniting Church, ICW Central West, Emma Butler Memorial Show III. As I record this, only 30 tickets remaining. 30 tickets. And I'm going to give you a little podcast exclusive before the video goes up on my socials. Can confirm, through all the health issues, for all the bullshit, all the jokes about referees being blind, there's going to be a literal legally blind referee. Because on October 11th, Billy Goat Brawl, Big James is banned from ringside, Rex, Barry Blake, there's not going to be any shenanigans. As I said, I am not cleared to wrestle, but I don't have stitches left in my eye anymore. I will put my fists up if I have to ensure that there is no shenanigans and to ensure that this match goes fair and square down the middle. It's a Billy Goat Brawl, it's no DQ. You guys can beat the crap out of each other with chairs, trash cans, kendo sticks, put each other through tables. I don't care what you do to each other, but only do it to each other. And John the Ref, John Crossfire, one night only, until further notice, for the first time in 2.5 years by that point, is putting the stripes back on, and I'm laying down the law. And as you just heard with Jackson Thornhill, I got quite a lot of frustration that I need to get out. And Barry Blake looks like a pretty good target. I'm just saying. I'll call it down the middle for as long as I have to, but if either Rex or Barry Blake want to start shit, your boy's going to be dropping some radiation kicks. It ain't ego. It's just fact. I'm not bitter. I'm just better. I can say all the catchphrases. They're all in the t-shirts. They're all in pro wrestling tees. But speaking of t-shirts, on a more lighthearted note, 15 radiation kick shirts remain, where money will be raised for Emma's Tongue Cancer Charity. Hit me up if you're interested in purchasing one of those to pick up at the show, or if you'd like one sent out to you. I usually talk a lot more and calmly when it comes to that event because it does mean a lot more. That does mean a lot to me, but man, I've listened to that clip that ECW sent me from Jackson Thornhill probably about 10 times today. And somehow listening to it here now on the pod has pissed me off more than anything else. I gave that kid everything, and to his credit, he's taken advantage of it. He's won multiple championships, multiple promotions. He's competed in multiple states. I just don't understand where this attitude comes from. I know I've done some dastardly things in my career, and I'll own every single of them, but I've had reason, I've had motive. Jackson Thornhill, to me, seems like he's just become a glory hog. But with that being said, please, as I said, go back and check the EC Diamond links, because this episode was about him. The rant wasn't meant to be like this. It was meant to be rapid-fire predictions, but as always, I got heated. I let my emotions get the better of me. This is the kind of person I am. Y'all that listen to the podcast know that. Jackson, please just pull your head in. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, the match of the week was The Rock versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2002. Song of the week was Save Me by Jelly Roll. It is worth noting before I wrap this up. although I am not cleared to wrestle, I have been cleared to play sport, contact sport. I can be tackled playing football as long as I'm wearing safety goggles. So without, all the pressure issues and stuff that I'm having, they're still not as bad as they used to be. It is improving. I just can't be hit directly in the actual eye, so I have to wear safety goggles if I choose to play sport. So as frustrating as it is, and as high as the right eye is more than usual at the moment, and these new meds will help me fix that, people, I'm not even trying to sound like a tough guy here. People need to realize that the health issues I was having, it wasn't that I was trying to be safe. I don't care. It was more that I was keeping them safe from me. And if Nova Lee was here, I think she could attest to that, because I'm a nice, loving, kind person outside of that ring. But when it comes to being in that ring and doing my thing, I've got nothing to lose anymore. And I'm just going to let that sit out there. That's not a threat to anyone in particular. But whether you're a Reverend Diaz when he comes out of retirement, if he comes out of retirement, whether you're a Jackson Thornhill, whether you're Tank, because you got that ICW Heavyweight Championship. I've never won a title in ICW. And I'll never forget that STA kept me from that with the tag titles. And Jackson's opening old wounds with his attitude right now. Maybe I'll come for that title. Maybe Apex Anderson. Now, he and I, we was on this podcast. We've kind of buried the hatchet a little bit. But he's got that Australian Interstate Championship. I don't care if I've got to wait another 5 years. It'll be 5 years in November since I last wrestled. I'll wait 5 years. I'll wait 10 years. I'll wait until I'm old and grizzled and can barely fucking walk if I have to. But if I do not hold a wrestling championship before I die, as grateful as I am to have a wife that loves me unconditionally, a roof over my head, and as struggle as it is, we still do manage to scrape by to put food on the plate. If I don't hold a wrestling championship by the end of my career, or by the end of my livelihood, I'm going to feel like a failure. So with that being said, I'm prepared to put the referee stripes back on in a couple of months' time, but I'm putting Australian wrestling on notice, because sooner or later someone's getting a radiation kick. And Jackson Thornhill, I don't know, maybe this was his goal. He told me that I'd become a pushover. Maybe he wanted this, but he's lit a fire back under me. But with that being said, I do appreciate this conversation with EC Diamond. It was a great conversation. It was a very serious conversation. There was very important matters when it comes to the mental health stuff. If you're out there struggling, you talk to someone. But when it comes to wrestling, don't push my buttons. I am the essential John L. Crossfire, and you were just caught in conversation.